All right, so here we go on the Shut Up and Work podcast. I am the coach, and I got SJ and Rifa on the line with me, and we about to jump into our next topic. Also, out there, I wanted to say before SJ speaks, all the people out there, if you like our content, you like what we're doing, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, the Shut Up and Work podcast. So with that being said, SJ, you got it. Go.
Okay, well, we had such an interesting topic that you brought to the table, Coach, that I'm going to switch things up real quick and I'm going to talk about what it's like when it is that time to leave and when it's time for you to look for another job and things aren't working out.
Got it.
Yeah, because unfortunately, I think that happens all too often. You guys both mentioned that you had been with an employer over 10 years. Personally, I have not made it that far. My average is about 5 years.
Well,
And
you're
then
smart.
well, not necessarily my choice all the time, actually, because that was a goal that I was shooting for: longevity, seniority, all of that. And that brings up something else I'll ask you about too: seniority versus performance, because that's a big thing these days.
Okay.
But in my career, I found that it just hasn't worked out like that. And it may be because of the industry that I'm in, but also I'm sure that there are a lot of other factors as well. So I just want to talk about those signs that are letting you know, some people are really good. They change jobs every year, every couple of years. But I'll share something with you. The place that I'm working right now, currently, I intended to stay here for 2 to 3 years. I had a plan in place. I have now been here for 14 months, and I am already ready to go.
Wow.
Uh-oh.
Yes. And I think it's a race to the finish line. Am I going to leave first, or are they going to kick me out? I don't know if that's just my perception, but these companies these days are something interesting. So some of the warning signs, some of the things to look out for, in addition to just, your own personal feeling of dissatisfaction, not being happy when you're dreading going to work. Now, I know everybody wants the ideal, oh, I love my job. And since I love my job, going to work is not like working. Since I love my job, I don't work a single day in my life. That's wonderful. That's beautiful. Oprah said that. I personally do not know anyone who feels like that about their job.
Right.
And my expectations are so minimal. I just want to go to work, get my job done, make my money. Now, yes, I happen to be in a profession that I do love. It's a creative profession and I love to use my skills, but I don't expect to have a family at work. I don't expect these to be my best friends. I don't expect to want to be there every day, to be happy all the time, or any of those things. But, at this point, I know it's not just me, because literally there has been a count. Since I have been working there, 25 people have left in less than a year. That's an average of 2 people a month.
Right.
Exactly. So that's not a good sign. And company out there, you know who you are. So I've been in this position many times before. And I think the lesson that I need to learn, which is difficult for me, is that, 2 things. One, I need to always be on the job hunt. That's what the really smart people are doing. They're staying connected. They're staying looking. They're staying aware of opportunities and looking for places to move. But I'd be very interested to hear what you guys think, especially since you have stayed with companies for over 10 years. And then the second thing is, for so long, my friends have been telling me, you need to be an entrepreneur. You should be an entrepreneur. I don't really want to be an entrepreneur. I don't feel that calling. Plus, I know the truth of the matter is, when you work for yourself, you have to work much harder than working for an employer. An employer gives you vacation. An employer gives you a set number of hours. Hopefully your employer gives you benefits, or at least a discount on benefits. But when you're an entrepreneur and you work for yourself, it's really all on you to make yourself successful. There's no support until you get to a point where you can hire people to support your business. And personally, I don't really know any entrepreneurs that have gotten to that point yet. They're pretty much at the point where I do know some who are successful enough to support themselves. And I think that's great. I'm very proud of them. But I don't really know anybody who has yet been able to accomplish building a team, building a business, and being able to sustain that. But that is something that I'm definitely thinking of, other ways to make money in addition to, because I'll be honest with you, I did that in my 20s and I had to do it again recently, getting a second job. No, I'm not doing that again. I'm too old for that. But I will do other things such as freelancing, such as consulting, something that I can do that is somewhat entrepreneurial, but that does not require me to go and clock in somewhere else.
Right.
So
Okay.
I would love to hear what you guys think about that. You kind of mentioned for both of you, Coach, you said that you were getting disgusted and frustrated. And Rifa, you mentioned that they actually came to you and told you that, they didn't think things were working out. But just some of the warning signs. And then again, like I mentioned, some of the other things that I would love to hear your feedback on.
Yeah. I guess I'll go first on this. As I mentioned earlier in the other segment, it wasn't all cherries and candy. And as I just said to you a few moments ago, I thought staying 17 years was crazy. And that was dumb on my part, because when you stay in a toxic environment, it's almost like a bad relationship. You know what I mean? Abusive relationship. One person
Yeah.
abusing the other person. And then, how people just say, well, why don't you just leave that person? They're bad for you. And that person is trying to leave, but then they keep going back, getting beat or whatever in that situation that's going wrong, or verbally abused or whatever. So with that, I wouldn't feel bad, SJ, because I've heard plenty of people that interviewed other people say things like, once they look at somebody's resume and they've seen that they've been at a certain job for over 5 years or whatever, they kind of look at that as a bad sign and say, hey, this
Interesting.
person doesn't have enough experience in going out and doing other things in that situation. So I wouldn't necessarily say that's bad. And as I just mentioned, I stayed in a toxic environment too damn long. And I'm still decompressing, trying to get my mind right from being in a toxic environment. I mean,
Well, how long has it been?
Well, it's been about 18 months. But that's where I'm coming from. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I still have some of my old co-workers. They still want to call me. And when we call and talk, they want to talk about the damn job. Hey, so-and-so is still acting like this, or this supervisor is still doing this shit and that shit. So it's like, God damn, why you call me talking about this? I'm trying to get rid of it. Ask me how I'm doing. Hey, I wrote a book, or hey, I got a podcast, or something in that nature. Let's talk about life. Forget that damn job, because it's just like post-traumatic stress, I want to say, working, and you're trying to move on with life and go in another direction besides talking about a toxic environment all the time. You know what I'm saying? So in your case, I wouldn't feel too bad. And I would think in your line of work that you have to move around. You have to go to different cities or whatever in order to get to where you want to, get in that line of work. Because I see like newscasters, sportscasters, they'll be in one town or city, and then next thing you know, they're working for somebody else, and then in a year or two, they're working over here. And as you mentioned, Oprah, I think she started off in Tennessee, or yeah, I believe she started off in Tennessee when she started working for the news. Then she moved to Baltimore, I believe, and she started doing stories and news stories there. And then she ended up in Chicago. So she didn't stay in the same place forever and ever to stay with that type of person. And then as far as, I mean, sorry, to stay with that type of position or that line of work. And as far as what I would say, you're already kind of a entrepreneur, even if you're doing freelance stuff, that's still type of entrepreneur work. And I know there's a lot of people, depending on what you are doing, then yeah, you may have to work sun up through sundown. But there are other things that you can do that you can manage through your phone or whatever, that doesn't stop you from going out and doing other things in life. You kind of get where I'm going with that.
No, you kind of lost me a little bit on that one. What do you
Okay,
mean, like other
let me
things you
back
can do,
up.
like through your
Let me
phone?
back up. Okay, like yeah, I should have been more clear. Like depending on what type of work you are doing, let's say for example, you got a drop shipping business or something like that. You're drop shipping, you just want to make sure that the product is being delivered. So if you're mailing something to somebody, or somebody bought a watch or something off your eBay store or something like that, you can get notifications from your phone that, hey, this product is being delivered to whoever bought it or whoever this customer is. You don't have to sit in front of the computer at home all day long to monitor, hey, did this person get their product? That's kind of where I was going. And I'm sorry I wasn't clear. Um, my real estate note thing that I do, my real estate note business, I have alerts set up through my phone. So when a borrower or a tenant pays me, I get notifications. You know, I get notifications from my bank. Sometimes I'll get email notifications. I'll get a cash app or wherever they pay me. I will get notifications on my phone. So if I'm out somewhere or if I need to go and do something, I could go do it. I don't have to sit in front of the computer all day, you know, waiting for somebody to pay me or whatever in that situation. And that's what I'm meaning by you can still have the freedom to move about besides just sitting in front of a computer working tons of hours sun up to sundown. And again, it depends on what you get involved in. Did that kind of clear up
True.
what I was saying?
Yes,
Okay.
it did.
Okay. And then probably the same way, if you are doing consulting, well, I would think that the client that you have, they're going to notify you, they're going to tell you something in some kind of way. You're going to set your schedule to meet with them or have them certain things, or you're going to give them a deadline when you're going to send them something. So you're not just pinned down all the time working, you know, like a slave and staying in front of the computer. So that's what I would think, you know.
No,
But
absolutely. Consulting is awesome work because you get to choose when and how much and your rate, and pretty much you are your own boss. The only thing with consulting is being able to line up those clients. You need to have a network and you need people to know what you do so that they'll use your services.
understood.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of glad you brought that up because, again, with any business or any stuff you're trying to get into, your connection is a big deal. That was one of the downfall with me to where, like, I'm old school to where I go to work, I do I mean, all the stuff I need to do. I'm able to help everybody else out with their work, but I just wasn't the person that, I don't like to talk about accomplishment that I've done, because I'm like, people should, my managers, they see all the stuff I'm doing. So I never got into this, into the mode of reaching out and making other connections from work. I mean, and these days, that's pretty much what gets you promoted. You have to have connections. You have to be able to communicate with people back and forth. So with me, with that, it took me about 3 years when I first got into the new. Even though I was doing the same kind of work, but 3 years into the company I was in, that's when I started like, okay, well, maybe it's time for me to go. But by 3 years, I was training other people, and I pretty much like I'm self motivated as far as learning rules and regulation and policies and stuff like that, to the point to where the managers and stuff like, well, you need to start you need to start training everybody else. So once you start training people, and then now they are promoting the people that you're training ahead of you. Personally, I mean, that was my time. That was my time to, what, I think I just overstayed my welcome, and I
Yeah.
need to do something different. So luckily, within by the fourth year, I got promoted to where I'm not stationed at that one store anymore. I've got like multiple stores now that I'm going to. So that kind of kept. I know you was talking about retention, but that kind of kept me motivated for me to, okay, now I'm not just stuck in one building doing all this extra work and doing, and training everybody. Now I'm able to move around, and I've got a lot more connection with the managers and the corporate office and stuff like that. So that's what kept me going to where I'm able to stay in a company for 10 years or 15 years. Because prior to me even moving to San Antonio, same situation. I started off as a regular associate. After my first year, I got promoted to a trainer again. So my third year, I was going around training people around the district. So it wasn't like, it was the same position. I was doing the same thing with a different position, but I'm actually moving around left and right. So again, that is how I gauge. Okay, do I need to stay with this company? Is there room for advancement? So me being able to, move around instead of being in one place kind of helped me stay in that position a little longer.
Great
Okay.
point. Yeah, great point. So is that kind of helping you out, SJ?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm hoping that it's going to help some others as well,
Most.
because I know that a lot of us are guilty in staying in jobs too long. And that's something that I have been working on also. Because, my parents instilled that same thing in me. You want to get a good job and you want to keep it, and you want to
Yes.
work that job and make your money and save it and put it away. And that worked well for them. However, the
Exactly.
world has changed. We are
Correct.
not in that same situation.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
because
go ahead. Go ahead, Rifa.
if you try and buy that Lamborghini, you ain't gonna be. I mean, I'm serious. The way the society is now,
Yep.
going into that one job and staying, get promoted, and all that.
Exactly.
You're gonna be 70 years old and you ain't gonna reach where you need to go. So a lot of things have changed to where you have to make new connection, move around. Again, it's one of those things. I grew up old school, so like just go up there, because the longer you be there, the more respect you get. For instance, Dallas Cowboy, they just let the running back go after
Right.
what 10, 11 years.
No,
So
no, no, no. Way shorter than that. I
what,
think maybe 6 years,
6 years.
5 years. Uh-huh.
So the guy is real good to me. I mean, for what he does, right? Then
hmm
you got old school running backs telling him, you know what? Pretty much the old school running backs tell him, look, go get your money. These people
Right.
don't care about you. So again, you got to, while you at the job, make connection, and within 3 years or so, start looking around.
And that's a good point you brought up, Rifa, because even when I left my job, some of the people who was not civil servants like I was, but they were contractors working on a federal installation. I can't tell you how many times they offered me a job. Hey, come work for us. And as a matter of fact, the most recent job offer was someone or some company offered me a job to go over to Japan, and it was going to be well into the six figures. Um, but with that in return, I was going to be working probably about 12 to 15 hours a day, 6 days a week. And I was like, oh, no, 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 no. I mean, it was going to be like slave labor. So I could have easily just taken a job where they were going to pay for my housing while I'm staying over there. I'll probably be staying in an apartment or something for free, and probably pay for my internet and pay for my basic electricity and water. But at the same time, what am I trading? I'm going to be trading a whole hell of a lot of time. 12 hours a day working sun up to work sun down just to make $150,000. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, you got to pay taxes on that. And is it going to be worth it is one of the things that I ask. And then not only with taxes, you got to deal with going back to what I said in the last segment. What if this place is very toxic? What if this place has shitty bosses? Now I didn't sacrifice to go all the way across the world to a job because, they dangled that carrot to say, 150,000, it looks great. And I go over there and take that job, and I'm right back in the same toxic environment that I spent 17 years trying to escape.
Yeah, and you're in another place where you have no family, no friends, no support, no familiar comforts, no escape, no release.
Exactly.
I think it kind of depends on the individual because, like, for instance, if let's say my situation moving to San Antonio from Dallas, like, I have friends in Dallas, but it won't like, if I leave, they're gonna be like crying and stuff like that. So with me being like, okay, I'm mostly by myself, so it kind of depends on job like that because a younger person that I'm gonna tough this up, do 2-3 years, get my money, and then get out. So again, it's going to depend on the individual as far as what route they're gonna go. I got a buddy around here that works the oil field. He is never home. He's also military, but he makes over $100,000 a year, and he was like, you know what? All we do, like even when they're not working, they're still getting paid. But he is never at home. But he's doing it because he has nothing else to do. Like he doesn't have kids. He's not married. So to him, the sacrifice is worth it because I think like he's gonna pay off his $200,000 house in I think he's told me like 6 months.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's gonna depend on how motivated you are and what you want to do because again, him doing that because he figured like by the time is 35, you pretty much have enough. Because I mean, one thing about him is he's good with investing and saving his money. So I wish I would have done the same thing because I want to be able to retire when I'm 35. Again,
and
absolutely.
You make a good point because look at the opportunity that the young man has, and you're totally right, Riff. I mean, if I was 10, 15, maybe 20 years younger, shoot, yeah. I mean, I'll be on that plane to Japan, and as you said, because you see the things that you can do and you got that energy, you got that grind, you got enough mental toughness to where, hey, I can stick this out for 2 or 3 years, which reminds me that was the same thing that was going on in the early 2000s in that first decade, especially after 2005. Everybody was trying to go work over in Afghanistan and Iraq when you had those contractors that were paying 6-figure salaries and stuff. Everybody was like, hey, I'm going to go do a year over there because when I come back home, I'm going to be balling or I can pay off my house or pay off my cars or pay off my debt. And then, as you said, some people, they went over there for a year came back for about 6 months, and then they re-up. They were like, okay, now
I'm done.
that I got the house paid for, now when I come back, I'm gonna buy that Lamborghini that you were talking about earlier, Riffa, and you know, as you said, it just depends on the tolerance, and like you said, if you got the energy. Now, a person who may be older, who doesn't have that tolerance, who doesn't have that energy, your mental toughness has been beaten down a little bit. You may be second guess, saying, "Hey, man, I'm gonna go stay, you know, in Afghanistan, and then hell, I might have to dodge bullets or whatever in that situation." Or
Get my
like you
ass stood
said, with the
out.
guy in the oil field, you know, hey, I'm gonna go out here, and then just my luck, a damn hurricane or something come up in the Gulf, and I'm out here on this oil rig.
Can't run, old as hell.
Yeah, yeah, can't run. You ain't got to work, nothing but water. That would be a scary sight. I know we laughing, but that would scare the hell out of me.
Yeah, and again, we're talking about in the example that you gave, Coach, we're talking about moving all the way across the world. I know
Yeah.
that picking up and moving is hard in general. I actually like it. And to tell you the truth, I'm
Uh-huh.
from San Antonio, born and raised. I went away to college. I started my career in the
Uh-huh.
same city that I went to college in, and I've moved back to San Antonio a couple of times because my family is still there, but all of my best opportunities come when I'm outside of San Antonio.
Right.
So, yeah, it is all about weighing the pros and cons and deciding what's best for you. Personally, I could definitely see myself moving overseas to further my career and,
Mhm.
you know, have a change of pace from a lot of the things that are going on in the present day. And that's something that I've mentioned when in job interviews to my employers, et cetera. Some of these companies that I work for are
Mhm.
international companies. So I have that in the back of my mind as well. But
Okay.
yeah, it's just about finding a good fit and being open to possibilities. And especially when you're young. Yeah, I did that. I paid my dues. I made sacrifices. I,
Hmm.
you know, got paid less to gain experience so
Yep.
that I could build a career.
That's awesome.
Exactly. That is very good. Very good. Yeah. So that is a very good point that you made, and that's all I have on that. Is, you know, like I said, is I think what you're doing is great, that you're not staying stuck, because and also think of it like this: you're probably learning a lot of different skill sets from different people, because you may have been in one place and they've done things a certain way. Then you go to this other job, they do things a different way or use a different type of software or engineering program or whatever. And you're getting to learn all those things. So you're getting to become Batwoman. You're getting to have this full utility belt for any type of damn situation that comes up.
Oh yes, absolutely. And actually, you just gave me my topic for next week. We're going to talk about that.
What?
We're going to talk about experiences versus education,
Yeah.
learning on the job training.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Because that was one thing that I don't regret. Now I know I talked about the toxic work environment, but that's one thing that I guess made me come with whatever I come, that increased my knowledge, skills, and abilities, because of the different things in the different fields I got to work in and learning different things from different people. So that kind of made me spawn, I would say. You know, I could turn into anything. I could turn into a spike in the middle of the road. I can turn into a motorcycle. Whatever I need to do to get whatever I need done, I could do it, you know, if that
Hmm.
makes any sense.
No, absolutely. You learned transferable skills.
Yes, most definitely. All
Oh,
right.
and we'll also touch on next time the whole seniority versus I'm making note of this right now.
Yes.
Seniority versus performance thing too, because that's really interesting to me.
Yeah. Seniority versus performance. And I guess what I'll do too is I'll talk about the good old boy system, since you want to get into that seniority thing. Yeah. Or the good old girl system, which is now relevant. So we got both of those to hammer with that, to go along with that subject you want to talk about.
I don't know about this good old girls network, but I can't wait to hear.
Oh yeah, it's coming. It's here at some places, but we'll talk about it. So with that being said, does anybody have anything else on this topic?
I just want to tell the young folks out there, man, work on your communication and work on your connections. And
Yeah.
get your experience and always looking. Don't be comfortable.
Yep. And that's what it's about. You got to be on the move nowadays. So should we shut up on this or work on it?
I'm going to say this is a work in progress. I'm going to keep working on it, and I'll give y'all the update.
Sounds great. Let us two unemployment persons. I'm just joking. I'm joking.
We're gonna keep working on it.
Yeah. I know. I'm just joking.
I'm still trying to buy that Lambo.